Catholic guilt is not boring.
No, Catholic guilt is not boring.
Absolutely. Good morning, early risers.
Hello, Tina.
Hello.
Oh.
Yeah, it's early. It's early for us.
Oh, is it?
Well, it's not that early. It's 8 a.m., but 8 a.m.
Oh, come on.
are like
8 a.m. I was already on my second cup of coffee. No, I'm joking.
Tina, yesterday I was on an 8 a.m. meeting, East Coast time. I got up at 4:30 for that nonsense. We only have to do it once a month, but it's an interior thing. Been doing it for a
that's
few years. So.
total nonsense.
Well, when I've got crew in about every damn time zone, some of those guys, they're up at 2 in the morning for that meeting. So, yeah.
Must be an important meeting.
Well, it's with me.
Yes. I didn't know that you were the leader of the meeting, of course.
That's awesome.
Oh, no. Nothing like that. All right, you got a few trickling in as they tend to. Good morning, Sam and Jerry and Mario.
Do you guys remember? I don't know if it was on this call or if it was on the Thursday call, but maybe it was the Thursday call because Chip was in it, and he was talking about needing to change, like with the K365 user versus SaaS alerts licensing. He was talking about needing to change that for our existing tenants. Did that ever become a thing? I have a note in the calendar that I had to decipher what the hell I was even talking about.
When it rolled out, Dev missed hitting a base, and so it was forcing people to make a choice. Dev fixed that within 24 hours, and now it should default. For existing clients, it should default. So what you should look at is, and I don't know, this is a good point to start with. Good morning, everybody. You're going to notice when you go to orgs and then the pencil icon and all the rest of that stuff, that you have the opportunity to set the billing status to be 365 user or to be standard. For anybody who's using 365 user direct from Kaseya, that's absolutely where you want to set it. If you're using SaaS Alert standard standalone, if you're not getting it from Kaseya in the old manner, in the direct manner, then set it to standard. It will only really matter if you're somebody like our friend Enrique, where he has some people on 365, some people direct, and so that's that's the benefit, shall we say, of being old school, is that you have a bunch of choices. That will go away in the future when everybody moves to 365. If everybody moves to 365, I don't know if we're going to keep selling SaaS alerts standalone or not. That's above my pay grade.
So I don't have to make any changes. Okay.
You don't have to do anything. Yeah, when you onboard somebody new, then I know you're not in growth mode, but anybody who's in onboarding somebody new, set that switch to be however you're currently consuming SaaS alerts through 365 or direct.
Thank you.
Of course, Tina. I'm sure Chip would have done that a lot more eloquently, but then again, he was making those statements at like noon his time, not 8 a.m. So. So anybody have any questions off the top of your head? Anything that has come up that you've seen that you can't explain, other than those UFOs?
I've got a question. I'll shoot this one to Ben. One of the more recent rules we've talked about in the Discord with the spoofed OAuth apps, like the DocuSign and all of that, is the correct is it correct that the details is DocuSign from Adobe Drive from? It just seems kind of weird as I'm reading it. Like, is that word from supposed to be there? Is that like okay?
Because Adobe and Acrobat can load like mobile connections to the applications, and basically when it does that, it says like Adobe Acrobat iOS, from. So what I did was I said, I'm just going to put the from in there, and that way it'll only alert me off of the ones that don't have the extra crap behind them.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the most eloquent way I could have gone
Well,
about
it
doing
just
it.
looked a little weird, and
Yeah, it does.
I was out of the office last week, so like when this was starting to pop up and stuff, I missed those initial talks about it. So I set that up just in ours to monitor for, because obviously, but I just wanted to ask, since it seemed a
It's a little
little
weird.
weird just on its own.
Yes. Well, you're the first person that's asked about it, so nice job. The person was like, "What is adding from in there?" Yeah, it's
Right,
just
first one to
because
get confused.
yeah, we don't have anything that like um, could be like only do this and nothing after it and everything. So I had to add that little like blocker in there, and that prevents our database from just making guesses and saying, "Oh, well, it has this in there, right?" So it has to be like this exact phrase. Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
Can you
it's a
guys
good
talk about
question.
that one for a second? Because I'm a little behind on the Discord and adding new rules. Is that something I should get in there? Can you talk about it or show it, Ben?
Oh yeah. This one was shared with me by DJ and his team, and I'd caught it like earlier today. I just hadn't had a chance to read the article, and DJ was like, "Check this out," and I'm like, "All right, crap." So this one is the basically the threat actor has this little like are you human thing on there, and you'd be like, well, of course I'm not a robot, and you click the button and it's like, well, prove it. You hit Windows R, which opens up what the Windows run command, and paste this PowerShell command line into your window and then run it. I asked who in the world is running PowerShell commands and okay with this, but then again, I thought, you know what? This probably does seem like something someone would do. And what this does is this initiates the installation of these applications, which are Adobe Drive, Adobe Drive X, DocuSign, a whole bunch of other ones. And the actual full thread is on X, or if you want, it's also on one of their other things too. I forget what the name of it is. It was in the article. Let me look here.
And in the respond rule, you're looking for specific OAuth apps being registered.
Correct. There's on the thread, it's not on X, it's on a different link. I posted it in the Discord under the I believe SASE call. There's a link to what's that other one? It's the open source equivalent of X, like Mastodon or something like that. But basically that's where Proofpoint Booster stuff or like InfoSec something. But they included like application IDs. So you can use these applications IDs to identify this. But if you'll notice with these, it says it has the logo, it has the name, but it's unverified. And that is a big red flag because these apps will always be verified because they are published with Microsoft. And I'll show you a couple of Fortify controls you can use too in a second. But basically what they look for is they request the permission. They're very low level permissions, but they request profile, email address, and open ID. And what this does is this gives them a little bit of a foothold in the environment so that they can do a little bit of OSINT on the company. They're not going to gain full access, but it is enough for them to start feeling out the organization and finding out who to target.
What do they look like on the enterprise app side in the tenant?
Yeah, good question. Let's see. So let's hit up Entra.
I love it when somebody asks quite Ben a question he doesn't have the answer to.
I
He's like,
have
I
their
don't know. Let's
answer.
go find out.
I don't have the screen pulled up. So if you're using Entra, which most of you are, you could also use portal.azure, but basically they show up as enterprise applications. So they'll be grouped in here with all the other enterprise applications and integrations you have. Like you can see, I have a bunch of SaaS alerts ones, but it'll show up in here and it will look very inconspicuous because it'll have the logo and it'll have the name. So you may not be immediately able to identify, hey, this is suspicious.
That's
What's up?
exactly my question. Yeah, can we, because we review these all the time. We wouldn't, it would show Adobe in the icon
It
still.
would,
Uh,
yes.
so
But all of them
the
have application IDs, and you could always search for the application ID that you would
okay,
get from that article.
from that article.
And let me see if I can find the link straight to it.
Is there any way to in SaaS alerts to do a report on the existing application IDs that are in here for enterprise apps that are already registered?
Yep, sure. Let me see if I can. Hang on one second. Let me find this InfoSec
Okay,
one real quick. Here it is. I believe this
that's
is it.
amazing.
Okay, here. This lists the application IDs that you can use to, and this is also in the rule. And the way that we crafted the rule is if they are installed with these IDs or used with these IDs, that it should trigger off of that, as well as the name and permissions. But I will put this article in the office hours Discord and also the chat here.
Awesome.
Beep, beep, beep. But yeah, this article has pretty much everything that I believe I think Proofpoint found. They're really good at finding these guys. But beyond that, let me duplicate this. Sign into my reports. Do this. No, hang on. I need to pick out a couple of motorcycles or something. Crosswalks this time. Okay, so if you go under reports, you can pull up the enterprise application details, or I think it's also the shadow IT report.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's a good one. And we'll basically select a date range. Now keep in mind this, I believe this is only going to read the stuff that it has seen activity on or seen it being installed. So it's always a good idea to still do an audit, but these will tell you exactly the kind of overall who's using what, as well as a list of who's installed, who's used them, stuff like that.
So to show us anything that's been registered since we had SaaS alerts loaded, but it can't tell us if it was already there.
I don't think so. Let me see if the other one does
correct.
that.
It only shows new installs or uses of that application.
Yeah. Yeah, and this one's just a simpler version of that same information.
Yeah, no, the Shadow IT report shows really well because it shows your top 10 offenders, who's OAuthing the most. It shows your top 10 apps. And if you've got a ton of apps, that third-party app pull down will show you everything. And I regularly show people applications running in their environments they don't even know about. So that's a good one.
And if you are under here, one of the easiest ways to sort through this and kind of like do a little bit of house cleaning is just sort by created on and see, hey, if you have something that's created like 2 years ago, and you can also, one thing you can't do on our platform, but you can do here, is if you go into these applications, you can do an audit log on them, and this will tell you if when the last time activity was detected. But our platform will also will tell you usage as well, probably even beyond this. So, but if I see something that was created a long time ago and I don't see any activity on it, I just nuke it. It's obviously whoever added it there is not using it anymore.
That's where my Mighty Monkey emoji plugin went. Ben's been cleaning house.
That's awesome. This is exactly what we're doing right now. We're on a mission. So anything to make it easier, just reviewing all the enterprise apps and when they were installed. But yeah, auditing usage on them.
You could do it across your entire stack in the analysis module, Tina. So the two alerts you're looking for are SaaS integration. That's the first time it connects. And then the repeated connections are going to be OAuths, and there'll be thousands of those. So, watch your search criteria.
Yep.
Or your date range.
And once you are comfortable with the the cleanliness of your apps, or even beforehand. You can do this one control. It's called ensure user consent to apps. Accessing company data is not allowed on their behalf, blah, blah, blah. There's a couple of things that you can do with this one. You can apply it as it is. And what this will do is this will basically say, you have to have been published with Microsoft in order for you to be installed. So this one is one that pretty much anybody could easily enable, and it's going to protect you against this attack because these are not verified. The attacks it will not protect you against is like Perfect Data Software or EM Client, because those are published applications. And they are published to Microsoft, and people use them legitimately as well as illegitimately. And if you're ever looking for that in Microsoft, that will be under consent and permissions, and it will explain to you the same thing. There's 3 different settings. There's allow everybody, Wild Wild West. There's the second one, which like we were talking about, the verified publishers, and then there's the do not consent. An administrator will have to consent for everything that you load, regardless of if it's published or not. That's the ultimate protection. And if you did want to do that with our platform, that's possible now too. If you click on the edit for the customize for this guy, you can come in here and just say, and like just hit add parameter. It's only one. It's user consent for applications equal to do not allow consent. So when you save that and you apply it, then it will push out the most enforced do not allow anybody to enable and install anything.
Did you already have that as a Fortify? Because I'm pretty sure we have it set to do not allow user consent, period. But
This
I
is new.
thought we did it through Fortify without changing any custom.
This is
New in the
this
last
is
month,
new.
isn't it?
Yeah, it was one thing that I asked Jason to add, because I said I like that we can do the level 2, but I want the most strict version possible for those clients that can get away with it. If you do the requires consent for everything, you're going to hear something about it, but if you do the published verifiers or verified publishers, you shouldn't. But
Yeah, we hear about it. Yeah. So
the verified
that's fine with us.
publishers one,
Well, no, we locked it down. Yeah,
okay, good,
we locked it down completely so they can't
good,
consent to any apps. And we
good.
hear about it, but we're okay with that. But I thought
Yes.
I did it through Fortify, so I don't know how I did
Yeah.
it.
Uh, that's great. I think that's the best way to do it if you can get away with it, and your people are okay with it. But it's the most secure, and that way you're not going to have people loading. Because the thing about with Perfect Data Software and EM Client is by the time you get the notification, it's server to server communication between Microsoft and the backup server that Perfect Data Software is using, or EM Client. So your data is already in the process of being exfiltrated by the time you get the alert. Even if you shut the account down, immediately after you see it, it says they're just really fast. I mean, it's like fiber connections, and they're not slow. So um, that's what, if I say, hey, prevent it from being done at all, and people are going to be a lot more thankful, especially those people that tried to load those softwares.
Lots of usability and security every day.
It's a zero trust. It's don't trust anything. Like, don't trust apps. Don't trust people to do the right thing. Don't just live in that world that I'm in, apparently.
I can't argue with that, Ben. Solid question. Thanks for bringing that up, Tina. Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Trust but verify, Rich. Trust but verify. That's what the reporting is in there for. Um, One thing that isn't like a earth-shattering change, but we've always kept your data for 365 days. There's some compliance movement that requires 400 days. So the databases are robust enough now. We just flip the switch. So tell your clients you keep their data for more than a year starting today. Other than that, I don't think
Yeah.
there's a lot of new stuff. What else new is going on the platform, Ben?
We added that thing that we talked about last 2 weeks ago, the Entra integration, which is the basically, just find a random one here. There's 2 things. We added Entra ID device ID, and that could equal to a specific string, or what I would do is exists or does not exist. And we talked last week about how to get that ID onto the devices so that they're communicating with Microsoft. So if you're setting up a rule like one of the popular ones that we have that we use on and managed SaaS alerts is the outside approved location. And if we have RMM data, that's cool. But we do at least say, hey, does not exist. So if we see this device sign in from outside approved and they are not giving us a device ID, then we can take an action. But if they do, that means most likely they're in our tenant and that they are just traveling.
Which action, if I buy a brand new laptop, which action creates that device ID? Is it installing Office or going to OWA or what is it?
It is either going to your account settings and joining it through the work and school profiles, or you can also see it through, we created an article. Let's see here, what's it called?
Why doesn't my device have a tenant ID?
Yeah, we covered this one a little bit last week too. I don't want to rehash too much, but basically when you go to install Office, if you do not click this option, it will at least register it. Otherwise, you can also join, and you can join. There's a couple different ways. You can register with management. You can register without management. You can join with management, and you can join without management. So all those four get you in there. If you click this app only, then you're not. And the thing that we were talking about last week is, tell your customers and their employees, say, hey, you get like 10 licenses of Office. Why don't you just install it on your home computer, the one that you've been signing in from, and you can have Word and Excel and PowerPoint for free. And that will give us visibility of the device, as long as they don't hit this option. And that way, when they sign in, typically from like Edge specifically will relay that device. Sometimes Chrome or Firefox won't, but there's plugins that you can install that will do that. But if they've installed like Outlook or something, that should be relaying it.
Awesome. I appreciate you rehashing that, brother. That was something that
Yeah.
came up with a partner, and I wanted to have you say it out loud so I can send him this recording.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this article should. I tested this. I didn't just like take someone's word for it. So I went through all different scenarios and found which one gave me the ID and which one didn't. So
Excellent.
unless they change something, that should still be accurate.
Sam, what are you not seeing on my platform or in the Microsoft GUI?
I'm looking at it in the Fortify dashboard. I didn't see the ensure user consent to apps. I don't see that one popping up in my list.
License dependent?
No, licenses is really low. You have to have free all the way up to P2 or whatever. Is it under completed? Some people already have it in place.
You know what? It might be. I was just digging under actions. Let me
Yeah.
see if
It's one of the very few things that Microsoft actually
okay.
gives you.
Yeah. It looks like that one is in various levels of completed, hence why it didn't show
cool.
up in the list.
That's cool.
Okay.
That's
That
cool.
would
Good
be
question, though.
why.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to know that you're already using it. A lot of people that we run into don't even have like the published verifiers in it. And that's one of the first things I say, hey, let's just put this in there. I guarantee we're not going to hear complaints, but it's going to do its little job in the background.
When we went through as an application, we went through the certification process with Microsoft. It wasn't a super high bar, but it was in place. It
Yeah.
took some doing, and we had to have some provenance that we were actually a company and actually building an app before Microsoft would put it out there.
It helps.
Google was a whole nother story.
Oh gosh, Google's a
Getting
nightmare.
approved in Google, yeah, was
I know.
that was a lift. That was a lift.
I think if people start mass like exodus like Microsoft over to Google, like we might be out of a job because their security seems to be a little bit better. Like I can't token theft like Google accounts. Like what comes with like Evil Jinx out of the box does not work with Google. So I'm sure people have made stuff that does, but they've made it like really difficult. Whereas like the old one that would ship with the old version of Evil Jinx for Microsoft works every time. So and does
That's
not
great to
work
know.
with Google.
I don't know. I think it's just philosophically, Google was born in the cloud. They started with a blank slate. They saw what other people had done, with Novell and everything else, and they built something different. And
Yeah.
that's just where it came from. Microsoft had to be easy to use, or they would never have been a company. So,
Yeah. Microsoft it's just Exchange. It's just Exchange Online.
yeah.
But I wanted to point out a couple of things about that the Entra ID. So like if you go into an event, typically if you see a device name, it's either picked it up from your RMM or it's picked it up from Microsoft. And what you would end up doing is if you look down where it says, I believe it's source. There's one in here where it says, let me see if I can find it. There we go. It's hiding. Well, no, there's Microsoft Unified detected. Yeah, I guess that is it right there. But you can also see it should like to be source too, but this is the one that detected it. So we're just looking for the presence of that.
Excellent. Exists or does not exist.
Yeah, pretty much. We build our rules off of the premise that if your device is in the RMM and your agent's installed, it has a certain level of trust, as well as if you are registered within Entra, you also have a certain level of trust as well. It doesn't mean that we use that to exclude everybody from every rule, but like certain ones outside of proof location, we try to. And that's also not to say that it's impossible for you as a threat actor to gain access as a registered device. So keep that in mind too. But just about
Speaking of
accepting
which,
certain risk.
Ben, I mean, this is kind of outside the scope of SaaS alerts, but threat actors, are they just standing up a new VM every 10 minutes when they have a new attack? Or do you think they're actually using the same hardware over and over again where there might be an intra-device ID from a previous use weeks, months, years ago?
Well, if they do have an ID and they sign into a tenant that's not their own, I have not seen that ID be relayed. So I tested it so that I had an ID already on a device and I signed into a tenant that my device was not registered to, and that ID was not relayed. And that's why
Right.
we do
Okay.
existing or not, because if it exists, it's most likely from everything that I've seen, and prove me
Yeah.
wrong, from everything I've seen, the device exists in that Entra tenant. The only exception that I've seen to that is for the partner portal. Sometimes we'll pick up a device from if you're signing in from a partner portal kind of thing.
Great information. Thanks for that, Ben. Couple of good questions kick us off today, guys. Enrique and some of the other folks that have jumped in lately. Anything top of mind? Anything we can help you out with?
All good. Just jumped in. I got a break on my other security webinar from Microsoft. Jumped in to say hi.
I appreciate that, Enrique. Always good to see you, brother. Um, we're kind of coming up on the bottom of the hour. Is there anybody else has any questions, any comments, any bad jokes?
Yeah, I got a quick
Bottom
one
of
on
what
the
hour?
Entra ID.
Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to start digging into this a little bit. And obviously, we've got a lot of folks with a lot of lower level licenses from EOPs on up. So we got a lot of registered devices, not Intune or Entra ID joined or anything like that. So if you run the dsreg command from the PowerShell script that you guys have an example of, I'm using that. I get the Entra ID from those joined devices, but you don't get that for registered devices from that. Is there a way? I couldn't find it. Do you know of a way that you could get that? And then I also, because we use Roost, I thought, okay, I can go to Roost and try and match up names and get those IDs, but there's no foolproof way
She's
of
got her.
doing that. And then you guys are matching the names anyhow. Does that really even help me? So I was just kind of looking for some insight there.
I don't think I've ever tested that before to see if I get that. So you're saying it only shows up for joined devices but not registered?
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, and I thought maybe if it would run in the logged on user context that would help. It didn't. I poked through the registry, tried to find it, asked the Google. It didn't have a good answer. So, yeah.
That's a good question. Thankfully, it is still relayed to Microsoft. So if you did add that extra filter, that may still help you. We do the both. It has to be either an RMM device or a Microsoft device, and that's the only way to get around some of our rules. But that's a good question, as it would still be nice to match it. And we've debated on whether or not we need it to be in there, since we're still going to roll out the integration with Entra and Unify. So it's picking up that information. So that is still on the way. It's just this filter was kind of a temporary measure that we could easily apply.
Okay. Well, I might look at that a little bit in building the rules around it, because I did notice that for the most part, we are getting that ID sent with the event. I just can't correlate it to the RMM because I don't have it from there.
You should be getting the Entra ID and the device ID as well, like the device name, like host name, from just Entra. So like even with our partners that don't have Unify at all, we're still adding the Entra thing. So on the off chance that they are registered or joined. But I'll have to check on the other thing. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I guess let me know if you find a way to do it. But
Yeah.
I just spent a little bit of time yesterday poking around at it. I didn't find anything. So
Good question, Steve. Appreciate that.
Very much so. Okay. I made a note for myself.
Excellent. Anybody else got any questions top of mind?
Yeah, sure. I'll go throw another question. So love going through and finding all the fun rules in Discord and trying them out and stuff. And obviously, I start with alert only just to make sure it's not gonna like blow up our PSA.
Good plan.
You know. But then after a while, it's like, okay, this is a good rule. It's not generating too much noise. I think it's good for production. But then I have to decide how much stuff do I want this to do? How severe is this threat? Is this a full lockdown? Is this slap on the wrist, just reset your password sort of thing? So my question is, moving forward as we're workshopping some of these rules in like the Discord as a community and stuff, can we also, in addition to working on that, have like a recommended, like, this is how severe this one is? When you're ready to go live with this one, these are the actions you should consider taking. Obviously, we can still, pick and choose to add more, add less, but like just kind of give other people or newer users of SaaS alerts as well kind of that idea, or like, this is kind of similar to this one, so I could, set it at this level.
Yeah, we might be able to do that with like tags too, in Discord. I have a couple of tags set up right now. I have like new ideas, Microsoft and Google and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But we could do tags for different actions. No, I like that idea.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because not
Yeah.
all of these are block the account kind of things. Even the ones
Yeah.
that the rules that we make for MSA is like some of them are just, I love expiring sessions because it alerts me and it kicks the person out, makes them re-authenticate. Typically they won't even call you on that. They'll just be like, oh, Microsoft signed me out. I got to sign back in. Stupid Microsoft. And
Yeah.
and then you get alerted and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah, no, we've got a couple that are like that, but for some of these, it's like, is that enough, or should I be doing more? And we obviously workshop quite a few rules now, especially with MSA
Mhm.
being out there and active, and you guys are generating more rules than just Ben had time, saw something cool, and made a rule.
True, true. I love it when people come to me and they're like, I saw this. Can we do some investigating? And I encourage anybody to do that. They always hit me up on Discord or whatever and just say, hey, we saw this, or if your system, if some SaaSers didn't detect something, let me know and we can make improvements. But yeah, we're fighting the fight with you, and always happy to what improves the product for you guys improves it for everybody. So
Absolutely. Now, I will say, Ben is here to help all of us, but when he's in Vegas, he'll actually have some work to do. So don't tackle him too hard.
not that much.
Yeah. Now,
Only
Tina, you
got
may
only
be the
got
exception.
I only got one day to do anything. They're like, are you gonna hang around for the rest of the show? I'm like, hell yeah. Like, why not?
Also, I don't know if we have anybody on from our friends in Europe, but Ben will be there in Ireland. When is that little shindig, Ben?
In freaking
June.
June, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like, do you want to go out there and do it? It's like, you haven't even seen me do like one show. It's like, you want to invite me to the next one? All right. So that
I
should
don't
be
know if I
fun.
told you that one of our partners in Europe said he had watched over 30 hours of this and the Thursday call. He felt like he knew us intimately because he was trying to understand the product as much as possible. That was before he had his first onboarding call, before he went
Oh
live.
man.
So you're a
Feel
rock star,
sorry for
man.
that guy.
Yeah, we only tell 6 jokes, right? Oh, excellent.
Okay, I'll have to remember
Hey,
that, Daniel. I'm usually just I'm kind of a lightweight, so like a glass of wine will usually do it for me, and I become very, very social. But yeah, I'll have to find that fine balance.
Ben, we touched on something earlier about doing a token flush. Uh, Today, I can't do that from the platform, can I? Just say, go dump everybody's tokens from this one client. It has to be a respond rule triggering that action. Is that correct?
Yes, as it stands today, that's kind of what it is, unless you use the API. The API can do it. So if you wanted to set up some sort of automation or like what I do with N8N is you can have basically a form that it asks you what the user is and what action you want to take, and it can do that through the API. It would be a very simple automation that you can do.
No,
I've
that's
requested us to do it in platform. I don't know why it's not done yet.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, the functionality is there. Just please give
Yeah.
that to me someplace else, like in the account management tool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, Going down
I've
that,
been,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I've been submitting a couple of my workflows to the N8N community. So here soon, hopefully, if you search SaaS alerts and you're using that product, you'll see some workflow automation that will hopefully help you grasp how to create your own, or if you just want to use that one. That's probably a good idea for me just to make one of those for everybody.
So you should definitely do that.
Yeah, I will. I will.
Ben, speaking of a token expiry, do we Jason put a policy in to Fortify to you allow partners to set that to be every 2 weeks or every month, didn't he?
I'm sorry, one more time. I was laughing at Jerry's comment.
Um,
Jason put a what now?
did Jason put a policy in Fortify that allows us to say every 28 days expire all tokens for this client, or every 60 days
Oh,
or every 90 days? I know that was on the list to be done.
hmm. Like yeah, like token expiration. I
You
don't
want to set a
know if
policy?
yeah, that would be one of those. I know that that would be covered with Fortify 2.0 because it's going to be, I believe, a conditional access policy, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe you should. Yeah.
Let's see. But I don't know if there's one in here. Require token protection? No, it's something else. I don't see anything, but
Let's take that offline with Jason then, because
it's a good
some of
policy.
our most successful partners that have the smallest staff and the largest seat count, they have it set to like every week, or I know a couple of guys who got it every damn day, kind of like us here. Ben
It
and
is
I have to touch our
so
YubiKeys
long
every
for,
day.
oh yeah, I think it's every day for us, but it's a long time. I don't know. I'm questioning if that's like super effective or not, but I guess it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I'm thinking low and slow. At least there's those guys, the lurkers, will be kicked out. So
Yeah, it's true. There's a lot of people that will gain access to a tenant and just like sit there. I think what the average was like 200 days or something.
238 days.
Yeah, just to kind of get an idea of there's the threat actors that will gain access and they'll sit and watch email come through. They'll see who your vendors are. They'll see what the invoices typically look like, what the email addresses that are coming from. And then they'll take it a step farther and like spoof those domains, send you fake invoices, you'll pay. We've been hit with, Tracy specifically. I don't know if you guys have been on the Sassy call, but she has gotten several of fake invoices as well as attached tax documents. And if you do some research on the companies they're coming for, like the first one, it was the company had shut down in like 2003 or something, but the the EIN, the tax ID was like exactly matched the company at the time. It was pretty funny.
Somebody's doing some pretty serious research.
Yeah. So
Scary stuff.
I mean, well, and they weren't small invoices too. They were like $50,000 invoices. But if you're a company of a certain size, most people just get used to paying it. I was working at one company before my MSP. They would just get invoices and they would just pay them. They didn't even know what they were for. And I'm like, why are you paying this? We don't even use this payroll service. I don't know. I sent an invoice. It's like, stop paying.
If I could get the accountant's email address, that place, do let me know, please.
Do you guys have, just because I've been a little busy on other things and haven't been focusing on SaaS alerts for a little bit, I feel like I need to re-onboard myself, but do you guys have a new like top 10 rules posted somewhere? Or your new top 15 or for new people and for Tina to go back and check all the stuff that she may not have missed or gotten in there, or just go back through the Discord.
Usually Discord
Say,
is the best. We don't publish that sort of thing. Anthony can chime in
well,
on that.
and here's where it comes from, Tina, is our compliance officer kind of hits me in the head every time I call something a best practice. So I shy away from that, any top 10 lists, anything like that. What I can say is if you search in your inbox for well met is the name of my standard boilerplate email. And it'll have sort of a not top 10 list of where I've seen other partners finding success with some of those. And part of that exercise, let's be honest, is to teach you to go look at Discord, teach you to go look at our YouTube channel, look where the other resources are instead of just those 20 odd templates there. Yeah, Jerry, I think we're trying to put something like that together, but if
No,
you,
that's perfect. I know,
yeah,
I
I'd
mean,
say
I
start
should
there.
know, and I do know, just there might be new people as well that don't know, and yeah, it can be a void.
About it. Yeah, and yeah, that might actually be an interesting sticky, Ben, is hey, here's the ones that we can see being utilized a lot. Something like that.
Yeah, it really comes down to like where would be a good place to put it and everything. Because it's like I don't want to put it out there for the whole world to see because then people change tactics and I
Yeah.
don't want it to become less effective. But at the same time, I want it to be easy for people to find that are partners. Uh, I went through Discord a while ago and changed permissions so people that just joined didn't see our respond rule channel that people like were contributing rules to. You had to become a partner in order to see that. And
Thank you,
it was
Ben.
just it was just mostly about protecting our what a lot of people consider their intellectual property and that they're sharing with people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a tough one. I don't know. I'll have to discuss that with Anthony and see if there's a good place to put that.
We
In
kind of
Discord.
do, probably in the templates and stuff within the
Yeah.
product.
Now that's as close as it's going to get, or in a knowledge base article,
Yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, the templates aren't as up to date as I would want them to be, but that's going to change really soon too. Like with when IOCs come out, that will be much more actively updated because they will be ones that uh, have been proven to be very successful. And the good thing about IOC is that they will not always have, there'll either be an IOC or a respond rule. And the respond rule obviously takes action. The IOC is just going to alert you, but can alert you across any number of the applications that we'll be integrating with or have already integrated with. Those apparently are going through me, and I get to approve them, so I'm going to be approving them fast. But yeah. I always consider Discord to be kind of our like not like wild west, but are just like beta rules, I guess.
Yeah, something
Like
like
this
that.
was what works for me. If you decide to use it, that's up to you.
Yeah, I always stick a little like beta bracket at the front of the name so that when
That's
I'm going
smart.
through, I'm like, these are the ones that I know that like I'm testing from the Discord. These are the
That's
ones that
very
are like,
smart.
don't play with this. These are our active rules.
No, that's really good. I've been begging for a way to group those sort of things. I think that would be really cool too. But I think it's probably a low priority due to all the other stuff we're coming out with. Which this year's going to be really fun. I'm super excited and about the improvements that we're making. And the stuff I can't talk about is just going to make you guys so happy. And I know it because it would make me happy if I was at an MSP and basically with MSA, that's kind of what we are too. We're essentially the one employee that does SaaS alerts for you guys.
That's awesome news. Exciting.
Austin,
Uh,
what's on your mind, man?
So I had a couple questions. A coworker of mine was asking me the other day if there was a way to target IPv6 IPs, like in particular. So thinking through it, I don't think I need it as much, but basically there's a few ASNs that when it's an IPv6 is always suspicious.
True,
And
true.
so, yeah. And so I was just wondering if there's any way to target it, but the more I think about it, I don't know it's needed, but I did just want to ask if that's an option.
See. I don't know
And
what
his
would
idea was doing like like the all, well, basically he just did all zeros for the IPv6 address, but I don't think that's going to work. It's like IP address is equal to, and then he did like the all zeros rule. I don't think that's going to work, but I was wondering if there was a way to do that.
I don't know if that would work or not. I know that works for V4.
Oh, really?
But like with that mostly works with like a range. Like we have, there's a funny way of if you ever needed to exempt from somebody from outside approved location, you could basically do a range between 0 and 255, and it would exempt them from outside approved location because all IPs would be that. And it's the same way for
Yeah.
IPv6. So if you ever have
Interesting.
yeah, if you ever have a situation where you need to make somebody that like they travel all over the place and they're constantly outside approved and you're just done with them, you can do that. Um,
Yeah.
let's see. I'm looking at the IP address. Yeah, it would. I don't know that you could do it with a respond rule or not. I'd have to see. I have to experiment
Hmm.
with that.
Maybe it could be like, IP address does not equal and then all zeros to all F. And is it just a dash when you want to do the range?
The range only really works with it looks like outside of proof. I'm trying it with
Okay.
rules, and so honestly,
Oh, got
I
you.
would want
Okay,
like
I know what you
a CI
mean.
was it CIDR kind of thing for IP addresses,
Right.
but it doesn't support that
Uh-huh.
either. Let me put that as a feature request because I would love that to be that'd be a much easier way for you to identify those sorts
Right.
of
Yeah,
IPs.
there'd be other use cases for sure. So, okay, cool. And so my other question is just since someone mentioned in the Discord like a week ago something about exempting like specific users, I think, or something like that. But basically, um, we find that in our risky ASN rule, there's like just a few that are commonly like Latitude is like consumer VPNs commonly. It's like
Yeah.
half and half. And so for those blocks, right? Like so like not exempting someone from the whole risky ASN rule, but rather like that one condition block, right? Like or the IPS name contains, Latitude, right? Uh can you say and for like the miscellaneous tab, like would that catch a name? Oh, that's right. No. The problem with that idea is that the miscellaneous tab can only do contains. So I guess my question is there a way off the top of your head to like exempt one user from like a specific condition block?
You could make them an exclusion underneath the under the accounts and organizations. You probably know about that one.
Okay. Yeah.
But beyond that, we are working on something called advanced suppression. And what
Okay.
that does is say that there is an event that triggers and you want to suppress it. Or right now, there's only the suppress button only allows you to do it for like the IP address, right? But the advanced suppression will have a slide out and you'll select what parts of the event you want to whitelist or basically filter for the user to suppress, and then you'll be able to choose, hey, do I want to suppress it for all respond rules? Do I want to suppress it for IOCs, for ticketing systems, from outside approved location? And then you can also set a date on it. Say, like, I want it to be this date to this date, or I want it to be indefinite forever. And so that's a way for us to identify essentially what's false positives.
Right.
Because we run into the same thing with MSA. Like if we have a customer that needs to, like, oh well, it's okay for Bob to use VPNs, and he's all over the place. He loves
Right.
using all these VPNs that threat actors use. He has a lot of fun with it. And all right, okay, well, we have to create another rule that is a duplicate for that organization and say this is okay traffic for this organization or this user, and that is just not scalable for us. So I said we need a way to say this is a false positive for these conditions for maybe this organization, this user, or the entire MSP.
Totally.
And so yeah, that's being worked on right now. That should be done, I would say in the next month or so.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Because
something that we needed to have done before, I think the end of, what is it, like by next quarter or something?
yeah. Okay, cool. Then because we have like literally 6 variations on risky ASN rules. And so before I make it 12 by basically having like a known bad and like a possibly bad, I'll just wait and we'll just stick to our spreadsheet for now.
If you look at the SASE call, I believe from if it's on YouTube, I think it's from last week. I think Adam shows off the advanced suppression, and you'll see exactly what it looks like. I wasn't able to paint a very good picture of it, but it's really awesome, and it has all the stuff that we need in order to define false positives. Because, like you said, some people they do really suspicious activity, and that's just their norm. But creating rules for individuals just becomes such a daunting task, and I feel your pain.
100%. Cool.
Yeah, we got like for some of our partners, we have like 6 identical rules for each individual companies. Like there's one that they love to use CloudVider, but CloudVider is also used by threat actors, and we usually try to look out for it. But they love it, and I'm like, I can't make a global rule and exclude that for everybody. So, yeah. Great suggestion.
Concierge service. You get that, but you pay extra for it.
Oh man. I cannot wait. When Adam showed me advanced suppression, I was like, this is what I want. Just give me this and I will not ask for anything for the rest of the year.
Be careful about that. They'll hold you to it.
Well, there's other people I can ask for other things.
Okay, yeah.
I told him, I was like, I want AI, and they're like, okay, we're working on it. Like, cool.
Yeah. Hey guys, we're coming up towards the. By the way, Tina, do you feel left out when I say guys? We had a whole discussion. I know, it's a little PC. We had a whole
It's very
discussion about
PC,
this.
but I've seen YouTube videos on it. Like the
No.
videos that I do, I don't say guys anymore. I try not to. I try to say everyone or
Okay,
team.
you guys.
I know.
Obviously not. I don't know.
There are some people
know
that
me. Maybe you don't know me, but no, I am the least. I'm a chauvinist pig. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Please continue to say guys.
Okay, cool.
Appreciate that.
I'm a woman in the IT industry, obviously.
Yep.
Say guys.
So, folks, we're coming up on the top of the hour. I want to say thanks to Ben for diving in deep and rehashing some of this stuff. Also to the great questions we had today. So keep those coming. Any other parting questions we can talk about in the next 5 minutes or so? Excellent. I look forward to watching you guys have fun in Vegas in a few weeks. And I'm sorry I won't be there, but absolutely buy Ben a beer or three. See what happens.
Or wine, and I'm not a big bill. You can buy me like a Long Island iced tea, and I'll be fine.
All right, Sam's got it right. Everyone's a noob. We all need to be humble about this.
Yeah, sure.
Folks, everyone have a great day. We'll see you at the next meeting. Bye-bye.